Hello everyone, this is Jonathan Little, and today I wanted to discuss with you the 2015 World Series of Poker main event. For the last few years, they have been showing this final table live on ESPN, and this year is no different. I strongly suggest, if you want to improve as a poker player, that you watch the entire live coverage, because you will learn a ton. It's going to take place on November 8th through the 10th. At 8:30 p.m., then 8 p.m., then 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN and ESPN2. You should probably check your local programming to make sure that that information is correct. But you will see all the hands played live with hole cards with likely very expert commentary. So I strongly suggest that you record these shows if you're not going to be able to watch them live and go back and watch each and every hand that is played. You can be guaranteed that this year at the final table, there will be a lot of very well-played hands, but also a lot of very poorly played hands. I'm sure you can think back to some of the past World Series of Poker final tables where you've seen players have huge blow-ups where they had lots of chips and gave them away. I'm sure you can also remember situations where players played their short stacks incredibly well and ended up winning the tournament. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens this year. Every year, it seems like one or two players misplay a few hands, and quite likely if they worked on their mental game a little bit better and were just better poker players, they would not have these blow-ups. So there are a lot of great poker players at the final table this year, but I have someone who I think is going to win. They're going to be my pick to win, assuming all factors were equal, which of course they're not. Obviously, the people who have the most chips are most likely to win, but if skill was the main determining factor in who's going to win, I would probably pick Max Steinberg. He's currently 5th in chips, and that doesn't sound too great out of 9 people, but that is still 50 big blinds, so he has plenty of chips. I've not really had a whole lot of experience playing with any of the other players at the final table besides Pierre. I've played with him a decent amount on the European Poker Tour, and I also played with him during the main event, and he plays very, very well. I mean, surprisingly well for an older player. But Max Steinberg, I've played with him a few times, and he is very tough. One of my more memorable Max Steinberg hands, we were very deep in a $5,000 six-handed tournament. I was on the button and I raised to 2.5 big blinds, and he was in the small blind and re-raised to something like 9 big blinds. And he had done this to me quite a few times, and I had Jack 10 suited. I guess that's worth mentioning. I had around a 65 big blind stack, and I don't really think I can call even in position with Jack 10 suited when facing a huge re-raise, which is something that Max does on a regular basis. And I don't think I can re-raise with the intention of folding. I mean, if I make it 15 big blinds and he shoves for 50 more, I of course have to fold, but I don't really think that's what I want to be doing. And I certainly can't just continue folding every time the guy re-raises me. So I decided to go all in. I believe there were 18 or 19 players left in the tournament, something like that. And he was shocked when I went all in, probably because no one ever puts him in that spot. And he eventually called with pocket 9s, and I won. I ended up taking 3rd, so that was lucky. But that is my only real experience with Max Steinberg, but I know that he certainly made my life tough being on my left, and whoever he has position on in this tournament is going to have their hands full because he is not afraid to get in there and throw chips around. So if I had to pick someone to win this tournament, assuming everything was equal, it would be him. I know he has one of the big stacks directly on his, or 2 to his left, so that's going to be a tough challenge for him to overcome, but I'm sure he knows how to play poker, and I'm sure he's been practicing the game in their break. After the final table is complete, on November 12th, I'm actually going to be reviewing all of the interesting hands that take place at the final table. I'm sure there are going to be plenty of them. And I'm actually going to be hosting a live webinar on November the 12th that you can attend where I will answer all of your questions. This webinar will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, November 12th, and you can get more information about it below this video. In this final table review, I will be pointing out all the plays that were great as well as all the plays that were terrible. That way you can know what you should be learning from at this final table to do and what you should avoid. So if you want to vastly improve your poker skills, make sure you watch the final table and sign up for this live webinar where I will be sharing with you a professional's insight about the plays at the final table. Be sure to click the button below this video to sign up, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there.